YouTube? We are back with the entire, well, not the entire crew, but almost everybody from the Hyper Colosseum crew. I'm joined by TJ, Jarrell, and Rio.
Hello, hello.
I could tell you did the pause for me to say something, but I was in the middle of a stretch, and I was thinking about how I miss Arby.
Yes, RB is in his sweet dreamland. But, anywho's, we are here with a tier list video for you guys. BT-17 is fresh and ready to go. And what better time to talk about some new fresh decks that we're playing out with. You've seen probably a fair amount of them on the channel already. And there's still a few more out there that we're going to try to nab on camera soon enough. But I think this will be a good sort of starting point to see how, the meta is going to start out. And maybe we'll do like a review once the set's done and wrapped up. So without further ado, let's hop right into some decks here. TJ's got a list pulled up, and looks like the first deck up is Gabuband Ancient. Is that right?
It's no, the first deck up is
that's Mirage. Jesus Christ.
I don't know if the
I've had a long week at work.
If the stream is bad on your end, I apologize. Also, we should say compliments. This list that's compiled from Huang's list. We just kind of changed the titles to how we normally do things. So thank you, Huang, for your tier list that you have out there for people to use.
List.
It's very
and
helpful.
everything else you've done.
And everything else. Absolutely,
you
yes.
do for the community.
Absolutely. The GOAT. So Mirage. So just to kind of like do a quick hitter on how we do our list. So we don't do tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. We do lists based off of a little bit more wordy, I guess. So we have meta defining. Meta defining is going to be any decks that we think are the ones that actually shape how the rest of the meta is formed in terms of like, tech choices that are put into decks because of like those cards that are, or because of those decks that are in there. What decks are able to actually like do anything in this meta because of those decks that are in there, etc. We have contenders. Those are the decks that typically have the best matchups into meta defining decks. But they themselves aren't so crazy that they are meta defining themselves. Rogue sleeper picks. So those are decks that are pretty good. They have a couple of really good matchups into contenders and meta defining decks, but maybe fall off really hard against a couple of other ones. So they're just not able to kind of stay consistent enough to be contenders or meta defining. And then pilot oriented. These are decks that basically have a lot of potential. Their high roll can be insane. At like a high like player skill level, they can be absolutely crazy. But it takes a lot of work and effort to get them there. And then Feels Magna Garurud Man is going to be our garbage tier list for this one, where basically it's a deck that because of how everything else is doing in the meta right now, it's not able to compete at all. It's just it doesn't exist.
You just put like Feels Mallowed.
Mallow-Myotis. It should be just Feels Mallow, man. Well, Mallow's not even on this list, I don't think, is it? No, but we put Feels Sakuya. That probably could go in there. But anyways, yeah. So Mirage, Ben, I'll let you. You haven't really. Sure. Have you tested Mirage and stuff?
Not so much. I mean, there's some folks out there, and I think more recently, this is more delving into future metas, but. The deck itself was a little bit interesting. The Asia, I think it was GAO, just kind of wrapped up. And there are a few decks that came out that are pretty nice and interesting. Mirage was one of them. This particular variant was running the Huangkunman as the level 5 from the most recent EX6 set, I believe. And using some of the fish lower end to kind of proc your on plays and then your restand off of the Huangkun inheritable. It also sprinkled in Hexablow, which I thought was an interesting tech. We won't get that until the next EX set, but that being said, I feel like standard Mirage is still going to be always there, right? A lot of decks love to draw. Obviously, there's ways to get around it, but it's still a very powerful mechanic. BT-11 Mirage is still a very powerful floodgate, and Mirage has just been here for so long, I don't want to spend too much time on it.
Yeah,
I think it's always going to be a contender. We know what it does. It's a very strong deck. It does struggle from OTK things, particularly since decks like Nume and, even Ancient Guru, they hit fast, they hit hard, and sometimes you just outpace themselves. But, I mean, it still can do very nasty things to a lot of decks in the meta, so I think it's just a contender.
Okay, I agree. Yeah, I'd say the ability to bounce also, like a lot of the decks don't want to be bounced, they want to be deleted if they're going to be cleared, and so Bounce is really strong right now. I think that's what partially what probably
I
keeps
think
Imperial
it's
so good as
probably
well.
the strongest and most consistent, and also like you said, versatile OTK deck. I would say,
Yeah,
but it still does struggle from your typical OTK stuff.
I would agree. Okay, moving on. We got Nume. How are we feeling about Nume, boys? How are we feeling?
I mean, the deck's obviously still good, but I feel like it's at the point where people don't play it as much anymore outside of like a big tournament setting.
People don't play it at our locals. It's still played a lot everywhere else. It's just we don't really have any Nume players
I mean,
around us.
I think it's one of those decks that just like Rio, you were just saying, right? It's like if you're in a competitive event and you want your Nats invite, Nume's probably your best pick right now.
Nume's a safe bet to go ahead and just pick up and try and just just
grind it out for a couple weeks.
Smash your head into security.
Low cost, heavy crutch, like
yeah. So I think we'll toss. It's still meta defining. It's a deck that if you don't have Crimson Blaze or some means of controlling wide boards, it is the wide board deck that you have to be careful of. And I mean, there's not much else to say about it. We're not gonna spend too much time on it. It is one of the best decks in the format for a reason.
It'll be interesting to see if that changes in a couple weeks.
That's true.
But
that's true.
We'll see.
Next up, we got birds. We got the Phoenix. So Phoenix, interestingly, so I don't think any of us have really played it too much. I've dabbled a little bit with like builds, and I know a couple of people that build it.
Sim, but that's really about it.
So from what I understand with it, it has a decent matchup into like things like Magna and stuff, but Magna's kind of seeing a decline in popularity because of cards being able to get around its blocker or things wideboarding too much. Phoenix still has some interesting stuff it can do. It does have access to Crimson Blaze, which isn't bad. However, it has so much like weirdness to how it sort of like finishes resolving things that I think it can struggle. I almost want to put it in pilot oriented because it's a deck where if you don't build your stack right, or if you like if you don't resolve things correctly, it can completely warp the state of your game. It's not as easy as just pick up and check face like some decks are, I don't think. Because I think it can do well.
we've seen the sort of rare occasional top every now and then with birds too, right?
Where it kind of sneaks into
somebody can sneak in there.
Yeah, so I almost want to put it's almost like Lilith in that sense, right? Where it kind of just randomly sort of pops up at a top placement every once in a while. So I kind of want to put it pilot oriented. I don't know how you guys feel, if you agree or disagree.
I agree. I feel like it's pilot oriented. It also depends on like your overall matchups for the day, but I mean, in the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, like I said, I've only played a few games on Sim with it, but it definitely felt like if I didn't string my combos along the right way, I took myself out of the game. You know?
Right. Yeah.
And it's definitely something I'm like, ooh, like that would have been better to do. And you like learn specific things, and like that doesn't come without a good pilot.
All right, sounds good, Jarrell. Any opinion, Jarrell? You got a thought?
Dude, I haven't played this game for the past couple of weeks. I got nothing.
Hey,
What do
you mean? You just played. You literally just played this weekend with Jess and got a top 4 in Evo
That's
Cup.
true.
Listen,
I haven't kept up with that game.
I haven't kept up with that battle. Yeah, that's
Listen, all I know is Red Ghost Wing. That's it.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
I put Magna underneath and the Just Mondu thing.
That's true. Yeah, that's true. All right, Gabu Bond.
Hey, okay. This deck get crazy. I've played a couple games with the new stuff that we got, like Ancient Friendship, as Risu likes to call it, is pretty cracked, I will say. I still think red base Ancient is better, but your ability to like push out Gabus and draw a ton, gain memory, potentially use Gabu Bond as like a late game finisher, or like even going into like decks like Nume, pretty decent because you can just like bottom deck level 5s, 3 of them potentially if you have the BT-6 Gabu. So like it's pretty scary. It can definitely pop off. I probably would put it like rogue sleeper pick probably.
Okay. Yeah, I guess the biggest question, because this is the thing that we always kind of go back and forth on, is what defines it as rogue sleeper as opposed to pilot oriented, is how much skill does it take to pilot it? Do you think it's something that's like you have to be, that it has like at its lowest, it's really bad,
So,
but at its highest, it
going
can
off of
perform
a
top.
comment that like was on one of our recent videos, it's like, I think the exact comment was like, when is Bandai gonna release like a blue deck that has
Requires
skill
skill.
to pilot?
Yeah, something like that.
As a
It's-
blue player, I was like, But to be fair, this deck is also a little bit like just kind of just stupid. You just push up your Gabus, draw, and just go Unga Bunga. So I don't think there's a lot of skill per se.
Okay.
You obviously got to recognize different scenarios, right? Like that comes
Hey,
with every deck. But
you
like
know
I
what?
still think it's like you do your thing.
You're the blue player. If you're willing to go with that, I'm not gonna fight you on it, brother bear. You know what? Hey, I'll shake your hand. What's up?
Amen.
God bless. All right, roll tide.
We'll tie.
All right, so this is V armors, I'm assuming. So like Vmon base for Magnamon X and everything.
What do you think, Rio? I feel like you've probably played the
Yeah,
most
Rio
VR
has played
armors
it.
amongst
Yeah.
all of us.
I feel like with the current like Imperial Ace stuff, it definitely helps. Like being able to like stack up, have the toolbox of like Imperial Ace to slap on top and just keep going off of your Magna if you get like outed. It's kind of
That,
nice.
and also the new promo flanger is pretty solid.
Yes,
too, right?
the Plomo frame is correct. If you guys didn't know, so on swing, you if you redirect the attack, it has raid. If you redirect, you burn your opponent for damage, so it lets you proc Magna before everything else, because the burn happens first before the battle. So you instantly just proc your Magna X like ability, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And to be clear, it's a pseudo burn. You're not actually trashing security.
yeah.
You're bouncing to their hand, just so people don't, get confused and we don't get comments be like, well,
Yeah.
actually, it's not a burn. Anyways, but yeah, it's basically a burn.
I didn't know Weevil Underwood joined this chat. What the
Yeah.
heck?
But yeah, it's cool. It's also a your turn effect too. So it's something where like if it happens to another Digimon, or I guess no, it has to be his attack target. Actually, never mind. I read it.
Yeah.
I read cards. So still, yeah, it's still
Pretty
good.
good.
Um,
Regardless.
Yeah,
where
I
do
feel the deck
we-
is good. I just don't. With like we were saying earlier, there's like a lot of things that can get over Magna X right now.
It also
So
Magna X also like for the V armor variant specifically always struggled with like Imperial, for example, and like it,
yeah,
like ace cards in general. Aces can be dangerous on those future turns.
I would still say it's a contender though. I mean, it's still pretty strong.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I almost want to put it rogue, which is weird, because it feels like it just warped so much. Because it feels like it just like falls so far behind, as to opposed to like vaccine and stuff. Like the vaccine armors variant. Not to mention just so many builds just go so much faster than it now. It's so much more memory intensive.
yeah, that was the big thing I was thinking of too. Like everything else
Yeah.
seems just so much faster at this point.
So much faster and does it for so much cheaper. And then it's like you do
Yeah.
all your big Magna play and you get it all done, and then it's just like, all right, well now you're at like you probably pass your opponent to like 4 or 5 memory, and you're chilling, and it's tough. So I don't
Move
know.
it to Rogue.
I
don't play the deck a lot, so I
I want to
can't
say
speak
I just feel like we haven't seen V armors top in a long time. Like, well, not essentially
I
a
think
long
since
time.
Peoria. I
Yeah, like it's really if Magna tops right now, it's off of vaccine armors, and so like I think also with Digimon Emperor running so much more rampant right now too,
Yeah, that's fair.
it's hard. So yeah, I think Rogue, I will put it above Gabuban though. I think
How dare you?
it's still Magna X. It still can be like
I'm
it's
about
still
to
like
bond you on Thursday.
looks at so many decks and goes, yeah, you're probably not gonna play the game against me. Tyrant boy.
Okay,
I
continue.
have played against a lot of Tyrant because of Sunny.
Sunny.
I feel
It's a
like
strong deck. Very,
yeah,
very strong.
the deck is strong, but it is definitely has a pacing issue. Can definitely be very slow. Its control is powerful. However, there's lots of different things that get around it now or can punish
Yeah.
that type of control.
Yeah.
I low-key feel like it's in like same spot as like V armor, man.
Yeah, where it has really good potential, but I feel like the contenders right now are decks that are just able to really do well against meta-defining decks, and I feel like Tyrant does not do that well against the current meta-defining decks right now. I feel like it does. It's okay. It can be strong, but a lot of those top decks just get around it or don't care about it. So I think
Yeah, that's fair.
maybe, man, this is
I
gonna
mean,
be, this is
we
a weird
have
one.
seen
This is a
we
weird
have
one.
seen a little bit of resurgence though in the past couple regionals where Tyrant has snuck into the top 16.
Yeah.
Although I do wonder if this is more of like more and more people just like sick and tired of playing Nume and Vaccine, that like
Yeah.
Tyrant is sort of like the next best option.
People are going for their control decks and they're starting to get away from
Right,
the rush
right.
stuff. I think it's probably better than V armors right now. I'd really say it could be like bottom of contenders or
Yeah,
top of
I
Rogue
think
Sleeper.
it's like
This
yeah,
guy might
yeah,
move.
that's fair.
Maybe he'll move as we go.
Mhm.
All right, moving on. Imperial. I don't think there's really
Meta
much to
defining.
say.
There's
It's
not
meta
much to
defining.
say about
It's
it.
Paladin Mode Ace is a game warping card. I mean, all of the Fighter Mode Ace is a great card still.
Paladin
Dragon
mode
mode's good.
and the freaking option card too is
Yeah.
crazy.
The
So
option
The-
card is ridiculous. Option card is ridiculous.
Primogenitor or whatever it's called.
Return of Primogen.
Yeah, Return of Primo. Return to the Primogenitor. Yeah. Anyways, it's the whole deck just has so many tools that are so powerful. There's a reason that Pale Dramon is still a $20 SR. It's insane. I would say it's probably like the lowest of meta defining decks, just because it's still, if they don't see their tamers, they still have like, well, they usually have higher rookie ratio. Sometimes they just won't draw into it and get stuck.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah. Oh, Rio, I'm sorry.
I
it's
love
meta-defining.
Imperial Dramon. Like, it's such a cool Digimon, such a cool card, but it just don't work for me, man. I don't know what it is. It's
Yeah.
cursed.
I understand.
Time to go to the virus side.
Red purple, hey,
That's true.
it's doing
Red
good.
purple, hey.
It's doing
Shout
good.
out Steven.
It is.
Yeah.
I don't think it's actually on this list, but I would say like red purple would probably be, in my opinion, like
Like a
top of
rogue.
Rogue Sleeper or
Yeah.
even bottom of
Yeah.
contenders. It's been doing crazy recently. Anyways,
Vaccine.
vaccine armor. So I want to say it's still meta defining, even though it hasn't done anything too crazy. Only because it does define how many other decks are actually able to play right now. Because I think there's, yes,
Yeah.
I think that there's other decks like in contenders, like in Rogue Sleeper picks, that would be doing better if vaccine armors just didn't exist.
Yeah, I think it's still meta.
Oh yeah,
I think
that's a fair assessment.
I'd probably put it actually as the actual real bottom one, just because since it lacks like the wide boarding that like all the other decks do, or like the recursion that other decks do. It can just like brick or like get stuck in weird spots and just lose to just being overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But it's I mean, you can't go wrong with pushing up Pada and gaining 3 memory. Like and getting a level 4 out of it. Like, it's crazy. It's so strong.
Sure. That's a good case for it.
Yeah. Okay, Omni Ace, or the new
Girl, get in here.
Omnimon Megazoo thing.
I honestly have not looked at this deck too much. I've heard it's been doing some sort of waves, which is kind of neat.
It's
It's interesting.
I've heard that at its
I-
best, it's like a better Alter S, but at its
Right.
worst, it doesn't do anything.
At its worst, you're just like slamming stuff down and not being able to do
Yeah.
stuff, and you're giving your opponent a ton of memory. Which, as you said before, with like V armors, it's like if you give your opponent even like 4 memory now, like
Mhm.
people are like, ooh, like I can do
Yeah.
something and like go crazy, and now
Especially
you're
with
potentially
Imperial.
giving yeah, exactly. I just feel like it's like and like I love Omni as a card. Omni Ace is pretty cool as a concept, but I don't know. I just feel like the card is sort of
The
Like, it
ace
doesn't
effect is
do.
definitely mid.
Yeah, it's definitely
Yeah.
not as crazy as other effects are. It's because if Teenage Evolving, choose one of your opponent's Digimon and return it and all other
Yeah.
Digimon with the same level as it to the bottom of deck, then delete something. Like it's
Okay.
it basically like super hurts Diaboro, but then every other deck it's like, okay, well I guess you'll bottom deck one thing and probably pop something else, but there's also so much protection against being deleted. Or just
I
in general.
just put this in like Feels Magna Garud, man. Like it's just like it's there. It may do some fun stuff
Yeah.
every now and then, but
Either that or like highly intensely pilot oriented.
I was gonna say I feel like it's pilot oriented. I don't feel like it's so hopeless that it's feels Magna, because I feel like it's the option for the protection with the new Mat and Tie is pretty crazy, and people are doing this with variants of Alter S where it just kind of goes like Insano style. So
I think people are just running it with like Alter B and just praying that they chip early enough that they can just clear through the last.
Yeah. Basically. I think pilot oriented. I think we should toss it there. I feel like it has potential to do crazy things.
I know at least one deck here is gonna be Fields Magnet.
Yeah. I think I see 3 at the moment. I think I see 3. Okay. So, Dex Doragora. Hello.
That's all you.
Hi, it's me. You know, the guy that's. We have a lot of Dex Doragora videos and a lot of Ancient Guru videos. It's. What can you do, man? We haven't had like a real like locals, so it's just been like us.
Probably like the 2 decks that are like the most
hyped.
People like most curious about.
It's a contender. Whether you're playing purple base or black base, I would say purple base right now is technically showing more results in English than black base is. I have a feeling that's probably going to be the theme of this set.
Well, in Asia too, I think the most recent big tournament, purple base took it. No.
It's interesting. So during BT-17 in Asia, black base was the more popular one that was winning.
Sure.
I think it had something like 6 or 8, at least going off of Digimon card meta, the decks that were reported, there was like 6 to 8 decks that were black base, and then there was like 2 or 3 purple base, something like that. But then as soon as we got to BT-18 and these other newer cards, it then swapped, and now it's like reverse. It's like less black. It's like the ratio swapped, so now it's more purple base than black base.
Sure.
I think that the deck is powerful. I think that it has some of the best tamer control in the game. I think that it has a lot of cool things that can catch your opponent off guard, and there's so many ways that you can build it that you can really kind of personalize it to do however you want to do it. I mean, even just like in our Discord alone, there's been so many Dex Doragora stands that have like popped up that all have like different builds, and it's really cool to see. However, the deck is not so oppressive, and it is very difficult to pilot because there's so many micro decisions you have to make. As literally Huang and Zero said in their tier list video, the deck has so many micro decisions you can make that if you make the wrong one, it can cost you the entire game. And I've done that multiple times now at this point.
I mean, just playing against you and also just like trying to make up my own build too. Like I feel like you're playing like multiple games. It's almost like you're like trying to set your opponent up as well as yourself, and you're like playing almost like a giant game of like shogi at this point.
And to that extent, I would say purple base is more forgiving if you make a mistake. That's because you can evo from the trash. Purple base also has easier access to alliance, which provides more aggression, whereas black base has better protections because of Doru and Kosuke, and you have piercing, which works. It syncs better with the actual collision effects. So it's just however you want to play it. But I'm gonna say I think it's contender. We haven't done the Mirage matchup yet, but I have to imagine it's not great. I mean, I did recently, I know you can trim your hand size pretty well if you play it right. So I imagine could probably keep Mirage from getting too much memory. But because of the cards you run, you draw so much naturally that you're still at risk of just passing turn a lot.
If you want.
What?
I said we can test it out if you want.
We'll test it eventually. Yeah, we'll get there. I'm honestly really enjoying not playing against you playing Mirage. I've really enjoyed playing against you when you're actually playing other decks and not just Mirage. It's been great. So I'm gonna say at the moment that I have to imagine that Mirage probably can do better just because it can push up better aggression and kind of just OTK you still, depending on if you are able to trim your hand size or not. But that's obviously very swappable. You could pop their Thomases and make it very hard for them to do a lot of their things. So who knows? Anyways.
Yeah. Contender.
That's the whole thing there. I think it's definitely contender. I would say it's probably tied with Mirage for right now in terms of like what they do, but
it is a scary strong deck.
Different interactions with the meta defining decks. All right, next up is Eos.
Jarrell.
Oh god.
You have the most knowledge on this. All I understand is that it makes tamers go, "Uh-oh, I'm stuck."
Yeah, so I mean, the deck is funny. There was a dude that I played while I was in Canada that was playing this deck, and I was testing it against Mastermind, and oh my god, that was a shit show. It's funny. The new stuff definitely gives it a lot of ways to just go into like turbo into your level 6 EOS ones. New Manoa, kind of sick. Helps the draw engine. Prevents tamer on plays from activating, which is kind of funny. So that combined with the old Manoa, if you have both on board and then an EOS, it just locks them down because they can't unsuspend and then they can't activate on plays. I don't know. It's neat. Definitely, it's on the border of Magna Guru versus Rogue. Just because, like, I don't know. I feel like against tamer heavy decks, it could probably do something, but like, I don't know how fast. I haven't seen or played against a single Magna Guru, so I don't know how fast they go before EOS can get set up.
We did see EOS do some stuff over in Asia too, to be fair. It wasn't so hopeless, and the tamer control is nice, I have to imagine.
Yeah, no, the tamer control is kind of nuts, and then like, and all BL, they just go into quartz because it can evolve off of one.
The only thing I wonder is, I don't know how difficult it is to play the deck. They would maybe put it in pilot oriented over rogue, but if it
There's definitely decisions, because I know with the new line there's optional stuff like if your opponent, like, I think the level 4 is your opponent may play a tamer. If they don't, then you get to play one, and then you digivolve for every 2 tamers on board. That's either the level 4 or the level 5, I don't remember, but yeah, there's definitely interesting things. So like, you can kind of bait your opponent into playing their tamers out, so that way you don't get yours, but like at the same time, that's still, it just helps you in the end.
Okay.
So I don't know. It's definitely somewhere in the realm of the bottom 3 tiers.
Okay, let's put it in rogue then. Let's put it in rogue, because it seems like it has some decent protections. It has some decent like consistency now. It has I think this is probably the best top end.
Yeah.
Like, this is the top end it needed, I feel like, to
Don't
do
worry,
something.
we'll get a video on it soon enough, because I need 2 more EOS mons, and Steven said he's got me on them. So
okay, so cool. Yeah, that being said too, expect a lot. Now that we're like actually past like pre-release week and whatnot, expect a lot of other decks to crop up that isn't just like.
Now that I'm actually fucking back.
That isn't. It also, it's more than just like our team doing recordings for the most part.
They let me free from the dungeons.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm good with that. Next up is Diaboro. It's rogue. It's a deck that, like, it can wideboard really fast. It can go crazy. If they don't Crimson Blaze you can just win. Clock, even if you don't play by the alt win con, the protection is really nice. I love the deck. A lot of people on the channel have seen me playing the deck for a while now, so you know, I feel like I'm a pretty decent sense of it. I think that, you know, it struggles against like a lot of certain things like DP reduction or, you know, any sort of red deck, but other decks it has a pretty decent matchup into right now. DDG Evolve's always strong. Yeah, I think it's just somewhere in rogue. It's probably, I mean, it just kind of just outswarms these. Has protections against Tyrant effect now. You know what? I'm gonna put it above Tyrant. I think it's just, maybe that's me being crazy, but I feel like because you can block or redirect attacks on top of being able to keep yourself alive from getting bottom decked just by playing out tokens, you're just like, all right, cool. You go into Tyrant, that's fine. I'll just wideboard again and then swing past you. Yeah, that's how I feel. I'm probably gonna get that might generate some heat, but I don't know. Diaboro, I think, gets slept on a lot. I think Diaboro gets very heavily slept on.
I agree.
All right, Gallant. Time for Gallant. So, Sonny's been playing this a lot, and he says he has like a 50%. Like, he already said he has a 50% win rate against like Dexter Agora with it, which is crazy. I think Gallant has good pieces right now. It's pretty straightforward. I kind of want to put it in Rogue Sleeper, where I think that it has some decent matchups. Like, it has enough pop to like get past Imperial stuff. It can really hurt Nume. It can potentially get through some of Dexter Agora's protections. It doesn't have any tamer control, which is tough, but it can mill cards, which can be harmful. That can be painful. And finally having some form of protection. Also, the new Crimson Mode Ace is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I think Rogue is fair. It can do things. I think it still struggles from the typical Gallant stuff.
Yeah,
Where like
for sure.
I think like we've said it before, right? Like RB kind of summarized it best was just it plays the game too fair.
Yeah.
Granted, I think it's like kind of
Man,
outreached that a little bit in the sense
Dude.
that like it's gotten a little bit better, but it's still like very, compared to
God-
everything else, very fair.
God bless Arby for saying that. It's probably one of the best lines that I've ever heard. Genuinely, is playing the game too fair because it's so true. So yeah,
It's
so
like,
maybe
I also feel like the things it tries to do, like all the little ways it can cheese or like get the upper hand, it gains it too slow.
Mm-hmm.
Like
yeah,
it's not like the gimmicks are bad. It's just the gimmicks happen way too late.
yeah,
You have to prepare for it too much.
for sure.
Right.
Okay, well I think we just tossed it in Rogue sleeper.
Sure.
Okay, moving on. Garuru, there's no
Meta,
debate.
there's-
It's up there.
yeah.
That's just at the
Yeah.
top. Red base just completely tells Numemon, hey, you're not gonna play the game, and then it bounces them, and they don't get the deletion stuff. Like it's just crazy.
Granted, I mean, Nume can still kind of.
Oh, Nume can
outpace
still,
it
like,
too if
yeah,
you're, if
absolutely.
You're, like, not seeing your right pieces and stuff. I don't think it like.
It's
before people are
it's
like,
not
"Oh,
so
like,
much
you
of a
don't shut it out."
steamroll. Yeah, it's not so much of a
yeah.
steamroll, but Guru has the potential to shut out Nume, whereas Nume does not have the potential to shut out Garuru.
I mean, there's a reason it's been topping in JP still.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Like,
And the thing is too, I think East sort of pointed this out. Shout outs to East for just also banger Digimon content. When he was going over his BT-17 review, he was saying when he put the lists up there and he was talking about like Magna Garuru and Nume both being in like the top like tier for like 10 plus wins. You don't get to see just how many more wins Ancient has over Nume. Like Nume had like something like 10, would like just hit 10 or would have like 11, maybe 12 wins, and then Ancient would have like 17 plus. Like it was just like it was significantly more. So Nume's still scary. It's still terrifying for a lot of other things, but Ancient just goes crazy. I mean, it can ignore blocker. It has Tamer recursion. It has hybrid recursion. It can bounce things. It bounces security. It has
and
access
on
to
top of that, it
Heavens blue cards. It can use a red base. It gets Uko.
Yeah,
Like it has all
that's
the
the big
things.
thing. I think how many times have we seen, even just recently, right? And this isn't even. So this is us like early days testing. Like how many
Oh.
times have we seen me like turn to like I've
I'm at
taken
2
people
security.
down to security
Yeah.
because it just Uko. Like I haven't even done any hybrid stuff. I've just
It's like
Uko'd and rookie
Turn
rush.
1, you just promo Uko in back, BT-16 Uko in front. You push up promo, hatch an egg, get a search, gain a memory, hit me twice, drop a Louis, push up whatever rookie you just evoed in the back prior to that, swing again, and check me. It's just crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean it's a cracked deck. It's almost like you're playing rookie rush with ancient Garuru top end essentially.
Pretty much. And the top end's just enough to kind of push you over the finish line pretty handedly. Okay.
But yeah.
So Shine.
Rogue.
Rogue. Yeah. I think it's honestly,
It's still decent.
I'm gonna put
Still
it.
decent. I mean, with the DP control and everything. It's still pretty
Admittedly, a lot of these rogue decks kind of like rock paper scissors each other. Like there's like
Yeah.
like I would say like Diaboro can be Tyrant, but then Diaboro loses to Shine, but then Shine probably can like lose to like Magna or like Tyrant. Like it's, I don't know. It can kind of jump back and forth on what can happen here. Gallant can also like trash security, which can trash Marcus. I don't know. It gets crazy. So a lot of these don't really take the placements of them too seriously. That's just kind of, I'm just tossing them up there really and just thinking about how they maybe match up against some of the upper decks. New Burst Mode Ace is good. New Marcus is whatever. He kind of sucks, but
He's kind of doo-doo.
it's nice having another Geogray for consistency with your line again. The new Rise Gray has some cool, neat, wacko stuff you can do with it potentially with some of your combos.
The new Shine Gray honestly is pretty mid in my opinion.
It has a
It's alright.
protection, but the protection is not what you're really wanting because you don't want to bounce your Marcus to hand. You'd want them to go to security or stay on board. It's a it's a do or die situation, but
I think it's more so sort of like a setup for your ace play, right? Like you can
yeah,
bring a
exactly.
tamer back and then burst mode with said tamer, but I don't know. It's like
Like
it's okay.
the pieces are there, but like again, it plays a little bit too fair.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Nothing broke it again, essentially.
Next,
Yeah.
Next is Real's Bebe.
What do you think,
My
Rio?
love.
Where do you think Demon Lords is sitting right now with what you played?
Honestly, I feel like it's either high end of Rogue Sleeper or low end of Contender.
Okay.
Cause like it has enough toolbox to try to get out of every situation you're in, but at the same time, we're at that place where everything is just like so, like solidified that if you live through Ogudo, your opponent doesn't do anything. Like you as the Demon Lord player, there's no way to close the game anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there any argument for it being in pilot oriented? Do you think the deck is difficult enough to play that maybe it would be better down there?
I mean, the only thing I could see as like, I mean, you could definitely like let me know, but like in my opinion, like this the only thing that changes things between like players is just the techs, right? Because like some people lean more towards like more lockdown strategies to try to chip away, and then like I play what I would assume is like aggressively. So it all kind of comes down to what the player decides to do, and that's like only pilot oriented thing. Everything else is just about the same.
Okay.
I think I would agree with that, because I mean, also too, when you compare the decks that are in pilot oriented and Demon Lords I think is a whole step above Birds and the Omni deck.
Yeah.
I think Rio's right too. Like there's a base strength to the deck, and then there's like a sort of player unique.
Because there's definitely I feel like there's definitely ways in terms of like how you resolve things, what sources you're tucking under your gate, making sure you're kind of keeping track of what you have in trash, what you want to put in trash, what you want to keep under your like it's all about how you resolve things, and like keeping basically just a mental note of like what's the best play for me to get the most out of this turn with what memory I have.
For sure. Yeah.
And I feel like you do that really well. I feel like you're very, very good at like finding the best way to get out of like sticky scenarios.
Well, I mean, Rio and RB both are very good Demon Lords players,
Yes,
but they
RB as
both
well.
play the deck also very differently. Not extremely differently, but like there's definitely like nuances.
There's
to
a
playing
there's a
both of them
difference.
that I gotta keep
yeah.
in mind. Yeah,
You can tell. Okay. Yeah, I'm good with that. I think bottom of contenders. I think that's probably the one that we're probably people are gonna be like, but it's not doing anything. Well, hey. Maybe play against somebody that's good. I'm just I'm kidding.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yes.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Sakuya, Jarrell, take it away.
The fuck? Yeah.
I already know what my boy's thinking. It doesn't do anything right now. It's
Yeah.
the
Listen,
whole.
I've been, for the past, what is it? How many hours has it been? For the past, I want to say like 3 or 4 hours, and this was a couple hours ago. I've been watching 3 guys in our Discord kind of just like trying to figure out how to make this work, and it just doesn't.
Dude, our Discord today was funny. Our Discord today was great.
Holy shit!
It was so funny.
And if you want to join in on the funny, please make sure you join.
Yeah, you're missing out. I already
Love having
threatened you
guys there.
I already threatened you before. I'll do it again. I mean, I love you. Come roll,
no,
come
I mean,
hook
like,
'em
shout out
horns
to
and
the
roll tide
regulars
with
who've
me.
been like shouting out on the Discord. I mean, we got Ante kind of contributing with this, Sakuya. We've got our regulars, Grizz, Veltez. Like everybody's been chipping. It's been great. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
I don't know. I'm gonna take what Rio said earlier. Sakuya just plays too fair.
True.
Is it
Yeah.
even fair?
Nothing that
Probably
makes it
less
outright
than
Keep
fair.
buffing itself.
Probably less than fair.
The plugins are a neat gimmick, but at the same time, the plugins are just like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
eh.
Also,
Maybe when we get their protection plugin, it'll do something, but at the same time, it's still just, eh.
yeah, agreed. Also, speaking
TJ and I were talking about it the other day, where like the plugins just have no overlap. Like if they shared abilities somewhat, or like kind of covered each other's weaknesses, then like it's one thing. But
they're too diverse in the keyword spreading. Like there's not enough. Like there should be more keywords on a single plugin. The only issue with that is that it gives other decks access to it, because they made it where it's just as long as you have a Tamer on board. It should have just been as if you have a Rika on board. That's what it should have been, because then they could have made those plugins overtuned and let people use them
Here's
with Rika.
hoping Sakuya X is cracked in EX8.
yeah,
Rage. Also, because we're shouting out people that are talking about yellow stuff earlier, shout out to Xerxes as well. Xerxes is
Yes.
he's our member. He's our boy. he's too good
He's
to
an OG day one.
Love you, brother. Okay. So yeah, Sakuya just it doesn't do enough. It plays less than fair. But she hot, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's
All right.
one of those
You
decks
wanna
where
teach
like
them-
you're literally
whoa,
playing
whoa,
solitaire
whoa,
with
whoa.
yourself.
Game. You want to teach someone how to play the game and not overpower them? You play Sakuya.
Isn't that what you
Very
did with
true.
Sully?
That's true.
And he was just like, "What is this game? I can't
That's
do
true.
anything."
That's true. All right.
That was forever ago, though.
Next up, Kazuchi.
Meta defining. What the heck?
Listen, as someone who's a staunch defender, I love Kazuchi. I am desperate to make a Pulsemon deck. I have had Pulsemon sleeves sitting in my sleeve box since I started playing the damn game, and it's never had the chance. I think it's close. It's so close.
No.
But oh,
We lost him for a
hold
second.
on. Well, the recording's still
Blasting
going.
back.
We're fine. Don't worry about the hiccup. If you heard the Biden blast, I apologize. Listen, it's all he's got left, okay? He's already given up everything else. Let the man have his blast. Anyways, Kazuchi, yeah. So, the deck has cool stuff it can do. It can have decent control. It has a means of unsuspending. It has decent, like, draw consistency and stuff like that. The problem is it doesn't, again, it plays the game too fair. It doesn't have enough aggression to push for games successfully. Its control is too mid to actually like do anything significant, and its protection what protections that it does have access to through certain cards is just not very good.
It would be
It's
cool
like
if it
it's like
played
one
like
of those.
Gamelon.
Yeah.
No, it'd be cool if it played like Gamelon, where it got other effects of pulse ones, but
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Yeah,
It just feels like one of those decks that like you just kind of, you play
If-
casually for funsies and you can have a good time
Yeah.
with it because like you're playing against another deck like Sakuya versus Kazuchi could be fun because you both can kind of do your stuff, but then you go up against like Ancient, it's like okay, I'm just gonna.
if they hadn't, admittedly, I think Kazuchi actually has an okay matchup against Ancient because it can give Sec -1 so consistently. But that's whatever. Anyways, it really needed to not only look for cards with Pulsemon in text. If you could use the old BT-7 Kazuchi, the deck can go crazy. The BT-7 Kazuchi is still a really good card that you can set up for it really well. The problem is that because it doesn't have Pulsemon in text, it doesn't gain a lot of the effects of the inheritables. It's not searchable. And it like you can't use like Leon with it. It just sucks. It's bad. So that's how it goes. It is what it is.
My statement for it is why is when I read this Kazuchi, I wanted to feel the way I felt when the first Kazuchi came out. I was like, wow, this card's so cool. I read this card, I was like, oh, it's alright, I guess.
Yeah, it has neat stuff on it. It can do some cool things, but again, it just doesn't have a way of actually winning the game most of the time.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's it though. For that guy, Ragna.
I said pilot oriented for me.
I'll say the same thing.
I think so too. I think it's like, man, I don't even know. It's
think-
so.
It definitely got some. I think it's pilot because I mean it can still like Ragna Ace is still a very good card.
It's a good
And
card.
If you can pilot your way to setting stuff up, it can be. You have to like kind of navigate around it still.
But it's-
.
I feel like it's also so much. There's so much that's just not in your hands as a pilot. It's just
Yeah.
so reliant off of did I actually see the proper cards to give me the right protections or the right control to survive long enough to Ragnalord ace somebody, or have enough memory to go ahead and go into a Ragnalord.
Yeah. I have this conversation with Stack where it's like the pieces are there. You just have to get there, and once you get there, you're good. But until you get there, you're struggling hard as fuck.
Sure.
We'll put it bottom of pilot because I think that it has
Yeah.
probably the
I mean, I've definitely
lowest.
played against even in regionals like some very good Ragna players who I'm just like,
Yeah.
wow, like
I
You're
think
making me work for
what was
this.
it at Gen Con, after I got off work and I went to go watch a couple of rounds of the regional, I think I showed up at around round 5 or 6, and they said there was an undefeated Ragna at the top tables, and I think it
Yeah.
was Huang. I don't remember if he was actually there.
Classic.
I'm
classic
pretty sure
Huang.
they said it was him, but
I wouldn't
don't
be
remember.
surprised. But, like it's yeah, I think it's bottom pilot oriented. Where I think that even at its highest, it's still gonna struggle, but it does have the potential to go crazy.
Yeah.
So, I think that's fine. I think we leave it there.
Next one should be pretty fast.
Yeah,
Yellow hybrid
it's yellow
yeah,
hybrid
just-
using like the new ancient Garuru and like Lobo and Kendo Garuru pieces. The
no.
problem is that
Yeah.
they still Evo just less efficiently because it's not Koji. Because they still Evo for what? It's for 3 over a tamer like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just it feels bad, man. I don't know why you would even do it. But it's there if you want to. If you're really missing your one of Chet Sylphie, and you're very mid Kaze and Zephyrs.
Yeah, my build right now for Ancient Garuru, Ancient Garuru with blue is literally just 2 Zoes and a Jet.
Yeah,
That's
which
it.
is like that's
Yeah.
fine. Like you can tech those into like blue, or even red base. You can tech those into. Normally you wouldn't because red base you want to make room for Louis and
Yeah.
Emperors. But you know, if anything, those cards serve more as support to other bases rather than doing full yellow hybrid with those top ends. Anyways, yeah, it's fine. Takumi Kazuchi. Or Fenry in general.
Contender.
I think contender. I think it's up there.
Can still do crazy stuff.
I'd say it's like the deck. So okay, it's interesting because like the deck doesn't need to high roll as much anymore. Like at least not in the same way, right? Where it needs to like set up its trash to spit out bodies. Now
Yeah.
you're only really looking to put 2 cards in trash in particular. Like as long as you get the Kazuchi and the Takumi Kazuchi in there, you're good. That's all you need to do now. And then on top of that, you've also got the new Fang, the new AG tamer. Agent Fang. Anyways, so I think it's good. Takumi Kazuchi himself is an insanely strong card. The combo when you pull it off, which like you'll probably see in some of our videos with RB and stuff, because he's gonna be playing the deck a lot, is crazy. It just goes insane. It's just if they see it, it's just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna probably lose all my security this turn.
Yeah.
I just hope that they run out of unsuspense, which as long as they have security, they can keep unsuspending. So
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah. You know a card is good when you digivolve into it and you sit there and your opponent's like, what does it do? And you have to exhale and be like, all right,
Yeah.
oh, here we go. Let me explain it to you.
Also, let me correct myself. It's you just burn their security when you burn your security. You don't have to suspend off of that effect, but you still have a lot of unsuspense. It gets crazy. So, all right.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty good.
Pretty good. Red hybrid, I would probably put in like rogue sleeper.
Yeah, I think it's rogue.
It's like, it's all right.
It's so weird because they're like, yeah, we'll give Ancient Gray Sec +1. That'll make up for the fact that Ancient Garuru just bounces the security, right? They both have the same level of aggression. They both check 2 security. Totally. That's how that works right now, right? Like, bro, they really put this card to give it a deletion effect into a meta where we have a bunch of options that punish being deleted. We have things that go when they would be removed from play, pop like a token to save itself, or just strip a source to save itself. Oh,
Not
you'd
to
be
mention,
deleted.
like, I played this, like, just thinking about this matchup with 7 Great Demon Lords in particular. Like, oh, you're just gonna fuel my gate more? Sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it can do red hybrid things where it can be aggressive and do lots of checks potentially, but it's still struggling in the same way that Emperor is struggling right now, where because the card almost reads exactly the same as Emperor. Like I was comparing it, it's almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you Evo, you pop something with DP equal
You
to
get
or
check
less
plus
than.
one.
You have check +1, and then you on deletion can play out a tamer. it's literally the same card. It's just got 1k more DP.
Well, I mean, the new Takuya giving it piercing is pretty nice, which is
Well,
something I
'cause-
think that red hybrid
yeah, because you
in
can
general
swing.
kind of was annoyed with, because if you block them, you could kind of get by things. But now that if you potentially
Right.
have piercing, like that's always helpful.
Well, it's designed to work with Burning Gray, right? Where Burning Gray will swing, raid, Evo into Aguni, Evo into Ancient, swing through. The problem is that if you delete the target, because I
There's
think
no
you
piercing.
I think you have to delete something, right? Or is it a you may delete something? I actually don't know. No, you have to delete one of your opponent's Digimon with as much or less DP as the Digimon. So if you pop that Digimon that you're swinging at, if they don't have another body on board, your attack just fizzles. Which I guess at that point you just don't raid. You would just swing at security and do that. But it's just weird. It's just so much weird stuff where it's like the piercing doesn't always even matter.
Yeah.
But it does have access to some cool like hybrid cards. It can technically use things like Shine, Ruin Mode, whatnot. It's a fun deck, but it's it's not gonna do too much right now. I'm just tossing it
Yeah.
in there. Anyways, all right. All Force.
I feel like is the same. You get some
I think
nice
it's
support with
Pilot.
the new pro. Sure. Yeah, that's probably better.
I think it's a blue deck that it's one of the few. Sorry, I'm not trying to be mean. it's where your timing has to be so precise. You have to be so precise with your timing on it. It's very unforgiving if you mess up.
Well, because it just doesn't. It's like a glass cannon.
It won't do
You
anything.
don't have
You know
protection.
It's so much of it's RNG with drawing a tamer. Never mind. I'm just gonna put it at bottom rogue sleeper. I think
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
only
I
so
was
much you can
gonna
control
say.
with it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I
just
think
The only
like-
reason
it's
I say pilot oriented is because of that one guy that will forever run it.
Martin.
with
Martin Lee.
is that the one that has the setup that's on the deck boxes?
Yeah. The one that-
and
the
that will-
legend?
every single meta finds a way to top a regional with all force.
Yep.
Every single time.
You know what? That's fair. He's the chosen one, dude. All Force doesn't give anybody kisses on the forehead like it does to him. So
You know what's gonna happen, right? Now that we know that the finals cards are all force related, this man's just
Oh
gonna
my
win.
God,
he's
if he
just, he's just gonna
fucking
win.
wins.
He's just
They're
gonna
running
win.
rampant.
if
If he wins, oh my god.
if
With all force.
if
mind
he
you.
okay, I'm gonna make a promise right now, right here. All right, this could even get turned into a short.
Apollo
If-
is gonna give the prophecy right
If he wins Nats this year, this upcoming nationals, I will do a very very just whatever cosplay that our community votes for. No matter what, anywhere from Kazemon to Diaboro, I will do the cosplay.
Is it limited to Digimon?
I would say, I mean,
Limit it to Digimon, please.
Yeah, let's limit to Digimon. That was the idea. I feel like I thought you were trying to open a gate there that I didn't want to go through. I got scared for a second. Yeah, I will do any sort of cosplay of a Digimon. If he wins, that's my bet. All right,
Now watch. This will be his time for the tournament arc. He switches from all force to Nume.
I'm safe.
Oh God.
I'm
He's
chilling.
like, I need those cards.
Anyways, we'll move past that. All right, so
This
Terrier.
one should be just Garud. Just
Oh, you think Terrier's that bad right now?
not great.
I mean,
Not
it has protections. It
I'm
has DP
sorry,
reduction.
Shamoon, I love you, but bunnies
Dude,
is
its
just
boss
eh.
card is used in friggin' armor vaccine.
Yeah,
It's not even in the same deck.
yeah, that's true. Feels Magna Garuda just feels hard. It feels tough. Like, are we really gonna put this at the same level as Sakuya, Kazuchi, and Yellow Hybrid?
I mean, I'm sure you could put pilot oriented, but even then, it's like, yeah, what has it done?
It hasn't. That's true. That's fair.
Sound like my parents.
I just feel like it's got. I feel like it at the very least does more than these.
I'm becoming an Asian.
It does more than those three. It just feels too hard to put it down there.
I know.
But I do agree that it has not done anything. But I do think that it has the tools and the ability to do stuff. It's also still getting support, which is crazy. It's,
Sure. Fine.
it's
we can put it there. That's true. I mean, compared to those three decks, yes, I agree. Terrier is much better than those. There's it's definitely a bit of a gap between those three.
It's
So
that or at
Listen,
the.
after Texas, nothing has been the same for me with Terry.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then they have the audacity to put the regional in the same spot in the same year.
All right.
Having
Well,
another one in November in the same exact venue. It's like October and November, something like that.
Godspeed,
I
soldier.
know.
Can't wait for you to judge
Which,
that.
yes, I know. I get that Plate TCG is headquartered in Texas, so it makes sense. But like, logic needs to be thrown out the window for a second.
All right. Well, there's our list. That is the
Let's
list.
wrap it up.
That does pretty good.
Let us know what you guys think.
Yeah.
If you have any other hot takes, you disagree with what we're thinking, or you just want to engage in some discussion, let us know. Let us know in the Discord as well if you're in it. We are always up for some back and forth and some banter. It's always welcome.
And if you
Thank
enjoy
y'all.
our content, please don't forget to
There
subscribe.
it is.
Yeah. If you've watched this far, did you know that 58.6% of you aren't subscribed that are watching right now? That's crazy. We're out here
Man
doing
even
this
threw out
for
the
you.
decimal point on this.
We're out here doing this for you, and you don't even have the gall. You don't got the Boston balls to hit the subscribe button. I dare you to hit it. Do it.
Honestly, that's a better percentage than I expected.
It's like 58.6 to 40. You know, whatever.
I was
Whatever
thinking
number.
closer to like 20-30%.
We had this whole conversation with Casey when she was looking at her blade.
Yeah, she looked at her social blade. It was crazy. Anyways,
But yeah, anywho's, thank you all for the support. We appreciate every one of you watching. And hopefully, catch you on the next video. Bye-bye.
bye.
Bye.